Ebusuafo na tie for ni di kwanso me patcho me ma obi bia akwa baba channel so am daily update TV. Obu kwanso se na no first time baba channel so am so ni di kwanso so tie news ni we na so ni join please subscribe for more updates. Like and share videos small love so nya videos ni bi enhwe Yakopon share na onyo Kesi so yes ade ebusua me patcho Supreme Court the omo explanation to the ruling now omo make it some that was 2 days ago no omo de aba. No omo de buy no omo da so kire said yes chief the speaker of parliament you know. So far, Sanko 4-5, you know, 4-5 no really against speaker, no. Or Momo say it was or Mumujina or Mujina Monsem so Case or speaker na idea or yen unconstitutional and Uncle 4-2 needy almost there be still almost sided with the speaker of parliament. Now Ebusia Justice Tanko Amadou or can't chief or can't so far or can't Supreme Court judges now mutina case in the sono or no Pia Babontain. So far, we share or no explanation or the buyer now, or say the Supreme Court any such jurisdiction no, or munisa to me no, the legal power. Men can say make a jurisdiction and maybe a better adekesi bia emra to me like emra ni emrano, or munisa to me no, say or more the bede or more the beka said a dear speaker Bagbins yeni emfa kwemu. Yes, we are Justice Tanko Amadou and we new on any explanation no. Mema mikasa nyati me patcho video ayedi bremu credit to TV3 Ghana Yakopon shira omo baby omo workers so far obi bia oye adwuma TV3 Yakopon shira omo nyina nti me patcho TV3 no omo free former Ghana School of Law Ansa sorry daddy yes me dem friend daddy because oye very like obi I derive my inspiration from. He speaks sense when me nyansa. Me friend daddy and I learn a lot from Sani Paya making answer sorry daddy sana me friend. Nebusia omo free answer sorry former Ghana School of Law director omo friend no ano buy no so be reactive into in a reaction no ana o make reference to nsema Justice Tanko Amadou ekaye ebusu mema mekasa nyati nti yenko tie nsem no Justice Tanko Amadou echere Justice Torkorno and the other 4 Supreme Court judges ni say omuni sa 2 mini kura say ade speaker ye no ombeka say emfa kwanu. Yes, that legal power no muni me yenko tie Yakopon sha no onyo Kesi that's very
my thoughts are quite frankly simple and straightforward in this matter. I still stand by my earlier thought that the Supreme Court did not have the requisite jurisdiction to entertain the matter. But even before dealing with this issue, let me remind our listeners, of the fact that the political parties all have Article 97 in their constitutions. For instance, the NPP Constitution, Article 3, Clause 9, Subclause 1, follows closely the wording of Article 97. And on that score, the NPP expelled certain members they found to be to across the carpet. That is Alanche Mantin and Anon. And the press release was signed by Justin Kodria Frempong, the General Secretary, who is himself a lawyer. Therefore, I see in this action a double standard by Apenyo marking. And at the end of this embarrassment, I think that he should apologize to this nation for this needless legal pressure that is causing so much and it's taking so much of our time. Having said that, let me say quickly that the majority judgment that was read by the Honorable Dakwesa JSC, for me, missed the jurisdictional issue. The question they pose for themselves is not, to my mind, the issue of jurisdiction that they should have entertained. The right frame or the framework was set clearly spelled out by Justice Tanko Amadou, who didn't miss any words at all in pointing out that their lawsuits did not have jurisdiction to entertain the matter. So my thoughts are no different from my earlier thoughts. The court didn't have the jurisdiction.
But sir, speaking to a few people who I would imagine have read the judgments, they appear to agree with the reasoning of the 7 justices you're saying does not add up.
So when we talk of the issue of jurisdiction, we do not mean the amenability of the parties to a certain provision of the Constitution, but i.e. Article 2.1 and Article 131 of the 1992 Constitution. The jurisdictional issue was whether or not the parties were properly before the court. We have said countless times that the Speaker shouldn't have been dragged initially. The Speaker could only have been joined to the action by order of the Supreme Court, because per Article 88.5, only the Attorney General ought to have been dragged in the first place by half a margin to the Supreme Court as the nominal defendant, and then realizing the conflict of interest in allowing the Attorney General to also represent the Speaker. What the Supreme Court ought properly to have done was to have ordered the joinder of the Speaker, and to say that if the Attorney General were allowed, to have the most say in this matter, it will result in the executive bringing a case and prosecuting and defending the case itself. This is the point that we are missing. For me, it is not the invocation of Article 2.1 or 1. For me, the issue is whether there was a defendant on the 18th of October. At the time the application was ex parte, the Attorney General had not been served.
Right, I'm afraid we've got to leave it here. Thank you very much. One of our top stories tonight, the Supreme Court, in its reasoning for the ruling on the case of the vacant seats, has said that the ruling by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, cannot take effect in this current parliament. In a 109-page ruling, the Apex Court said a member of parliament can only be considered to have vacated their seats if they change their political identity and remain in parliament under the new identity. Let me bring you some reasoning behind the majority justices and the 2 dissenting justices as contained in the 109-page ruling. So I'll start off first of all with the majority opinion, and they say that it follows from the above, therefore, that the only plausible conclusion which must necessarily flow from a holistic and contextual reading of Article 97(1)(g) and (h) is that an MP's seat shall be vacated upon departure from the cohort of his elected party in Parliament to join another party in Parliament while seeking to remain that Parliament as member of the new party. It goes further to say that similarly, an independent MP who joins the cohort of a party in Parliament while they remain members of the Parliament for which they were elected as independent member will have to vacate the seats tagged as that of an independent member. Now, consequently, Article 97(1)(g) and (h) must be understood within their contextual framework with no implicit or explicit indication that they pertain to future electoral aspirations or intentions that will materialize in subsequent terms, such as an MP contesting under a different ticket in the next election cycle. So, it concludes by saying that this court will reiterate a purposive interpretation of Article 97(1)(g) and (h) and maintain the distinction between midterm changes in political allegiance and future electoral plans. Now, so, some of the justices who held concurrent opinions to this, like Justice Kesi, for instance, said, and I quote, "I wish to state that a common thread runs through each of the provisions in Article 97(1)(b) to (h), and that thread is a condition precedent without which a member of Parliament cannot, in law, be said to have forfeited his seat in Parliament." Let's now engage the thought.
By law, ballot statistics no mo de aba no. I don't know say NDC4 are taking notice of something. Ma me say mega ballot statistics na. Okay? Yes, we are going to expose you one by one. Once our money are about total registered voters, those who are valid, those who are absent, those who are this, that. There is 841 names here. Yeah?
841 names.
Wamudiashe baby. Say some microphone. Want to me, almost police stations are less than say 50 or say then, or more collapse. Yadi akeka bihu. Wamwaja figure bi say, I don't know dear. Want me, ya more stations. Nanso so that day no. Wamoba, wambe mo atwaba. Look, I can tell you for a fact. MPP has sent notice to one members of what to fill a form those who are willing to vote.
What?
Men are make at you. They say Monko passport office. How they be able to do Ghana passport for people who Mukrambo and your magic of Ghana passport?
Tino me announcement say obi a man for passport.
One more year, one more day, yes. Hey, me say, silence me. Pass in the movie beba.
Ti Ashanti region mo afanfa mo betima protect ballot no.
What? You have no idea. Me ye ka say.
Obi atumi ntumi
me say me ne Kofi Boache Asia. Say Kofi Boache is in charge of NDC there. I will be in charge of movement for change in Ashanti region.
Security.
When I make what don't go who dey bisi wo hodum. Obuba who dey bisi. Me oba me so na mo ye 20 me fesimu. It is sad no mo ye no. Look, make away all other political parties take notice. That is the avenue. Wa mo ba be ye sad no. Wa mo say oh when ni dey amenti no, mo ma no nto na mo ntro. Wa mo be chegu country no mu. Wa ni be ba ho se na ni pa 500,000. A wa mo nya registered voters no ma be to aba no. Me patch the twema me na me nchade. Explanations no 9 good. Okay? Once a voter statistics in here. Registered voters on biometric register 18,600,000 so. Sa figures in now. Number 1 oba what's the number 1? Voters on biometric register refers to voters who will be biometrically verified on election day. That is number 1. Number 2, special voters. What's it special voters refers to voters who have special duties on election day and for that reason are allowed by law to vote earlier than it is special voting. Security for the media for Number 3, voters without biometric data. Voters without biometric data refers to voters who registered by whose biometric data got corrupted. For one reason or the other, they will be manually verified on election day. Watch them. Yanko number 4, total valid voters. Total number of valid voters for 2024 general election is 18,774,159. And what you A plus B plus C. And no NMI
the number of absentee.
That's right. With biometric data, special voters, and then voters without biometric and no NMI is our total number. No. A plus B plus C NMI the total of 18,774,000. Now number 9. Number 9 has a number of absent voters. But we share number 5 a total number of voters on exceptions list.
Exception.
What is exception here?
Omanchire.
Which number 6? Number of voters on multiple list. Then number 7. Total number of voters on proxy list. Now over number 8. Total number of transfer voters. But there is clear. But I did back one exception list. Anna multiple list. Number 9. The total number of absent lists should equal the sum of special voters plus transfer voters. Special voters, and then transfer voters. However, the number of polling stations were administratively closed, either because they did not meet the minimum voter threshold required for operations, or because local community requested the commission to close the polling stations for legitimate reasons. Voters from the closed stations were transferred to I'm Sabakubi to us. Baby, I'm 841. Baku oh.
Yemrene and until they summarize my
Mama printing and Kamunka said the second paper the baba. 800 and something. And no exceptional list in it at the also what I said was baby. Etika absent and then the special voting in Kauka Bumwa and Kesi said Bauka Webumwa now did that year. You were 800 and something a watchery. They are saying say on that day some bar or didn't register or get the voter ID card into you man had to no much through the at all. Hey, nobody is going to allow this. Nobody is going to allow it. Please cancel for these are some of the things you people should be doing. Well, not just you hold not to hold. Eti ubakwa say oh na yantiman fa di ancha we di baba ho new register na ko be 1 million people. Those people you could not put them on, they are not going to vote. Fantastic. Simple and register. Me say yasi say dem to hold the next meeting that no Hinto is going to raise it, and this is for Monteki or other political parties. Fantastic. Take it upon yourself. Yen konko raise this issue no. What is enkofobi abodua ewo election achabi for mudi anya achabi mpasa na bikin ayi bunu hodun bunu is abodua yesin kwansa ho baby mabodua wo motwa nantwe baako fo engwan baako fo chinapo adaka de menim no dodo ye twa baako ama yisi wo mo se yisi ni bia obeye kululu obe change figure wo de ballot paper bo mo obi so onkonko tintum wo mo de o mo twa wo de ato now Jubilee House o mo twa baako de amomo Muti says card go mobi one konko yese ya o mo twa mamo police for the security services o mo twa baako amomo ado mo twa baako ama political parties tie ne tie ni ye obi catch yourself kokoye basabasa don't go
very well. Also now Diana Moten Kano Movement for Change Director of Special Duties and on and Ebejoche and Komo Mugabe Masi ni midin o hene babo ama bene ene be
Ebusu ame pacho me do bibia se wanyamre na wabenye video ni bi so ahwe obuo kwan so men se omre kwa ye den komo ni besi ana enso ansa ne ye den komo ni besi na ma room se comes up December 7th a be fall on Saturday ye be pia bonton akoto abe sere obi bia se yen withholding the peace we've had so far. We've come a long way, not almost 32 years of practicing democracy. We've come a long way to let ebufuobi ne nieme bi enkoye ebe say democracy no. Let us try our best to still withhold the peace we have. Na me pacho pina so koto aba na so hu so bi yade anya. Ye wo authorities are so far o kan nsem no. And I say oko report ma wo mo a they will take it on and do the right thing. Please nyankopon yad ma comes of December me pacho yesro bibia se yekoto aba yen withhold the peace we've had so far. And again, according to Dr. Omane Buama Wama Yenyina ya where say even cra say voters ID ayera e drew 7th December na ko baby akoye registration no udin ebe wo honom omo be verify say ampa udin ye na still wait ma to aba no ntini me pacho mo am voters ID ayera no hwe na mo anka say oh me dem voters ID ayera ntini me nkoto aba me pacho eni di kwan so e drew apie ne ko baby akoye registration baby u polling station no ko honom udin be wo ho omo be ma kwan isi ameki sa provisions no and access her provision they say even cross say where you ID era voters ID na era kwa obetima koto aba nti we information aye de bremo nyankopon hire obi bia no nya obi bia kese na onye ye nyina nso kese me patcho stay tuned for more updates that's it bebre.